the Luhya leaders there blame ODM leader Raila Odinga for the wars within NASA and their particular parties. The freshest of them all being the Ford Kenya coup that seemingly ousted the party leader Moses Wetangula, as well as the National Organizing Secretary, Chris Mandu. And tonight we want to take a look at what happened behind doors, behind closed doors. How did they plot this coup? Follow me. Let's take a look at where this started. The bone of contention, the wars within Ford Kenya are between two people, Moses Wetangula, the party leader, and Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati. Insiders talk about supremacy wars between the senator and the governor. They also talk about protocol issues, as well as a looming impeachment motion against Governor Wangamati that insiders say perhaps could have been engineered by Moses Wetangula. Hence why they started plotting for the coup to oust Moses Wetangula as the party leader, Ford Kenya. The plan began earlier on in May, and they started holding meetings. The main engineers of this particular plot to oust Moses Wetangula. Remember, I spoke to Moses Wetangula yesterday, and he talked about embezzlement of funds and that Wangamati is running away from justice. And shortly we'll be seeing how this all unfolds until when they oust him as party leader. So 28th, 29th and 30th of June, after months or about 3 weeks of plotting, over 40 National Executive Committee members traveled to Nairobi. Another allegation we saw for Moses Wetangula, that they flew in delegates at a time when our airspace is closed, alluding to the fact that perhaps powerful hands could be part of the plot to oust him as party leader and take over the party. Let's take a look at what happened next. Of course, the final meeting was held on 30th June. That was Saturday, to execute the coup that ran into the night. Marathon meetings to just put everything in order and ensure they do this the right way so that by Sunday they're able to announce this to everyone. So they go to the command center, which was the Radisson Blu Hotel, to oust this man, Moses Wetangula, as the party leader. A lot of meetings were held from the Radisson Blu. The NEC meeting was held there. The pronouncements were made from there, treating this as the command center for this entire plan to oust Moses Wetangula as the party leader for Kenya. So then what happened next after that went down? Very interesting person in this whole plot. Deputy party leader of Ford Kenya Party, Richard Onyonka, was part of the meetings for a while. He left the meeting in a half on Saturday, called Moses Wetangula, informing him of the plan to oust him as a party leader. Moses Wetangula, in my conversation with him, says indeed he drove to his house in Karen and talked to him about this. Richard Onyonka then gave him two options on how he can maneuver around this issue. Told him, one, he can either reach out to Dr. Eseli Simiyu, the Secretary General, or Governor Wycliffe Wangamati to just find out what's going on, or exit honorably to avoid humiliation. He took the first option. Moses Wetangula then called Dr. Eseli Simiyu, who he talks about him as a long-time friend and colleague. So he called Dr. Eseli Simiyu and asked him to confirm if indeed there was a plan underway to oust him as party leader of Ford Kenya. Dr. Eseli Simiyu denied those allegations, told him nothing like that was being planned, and disconnected the phone. So Richard Onyonka on Saturday evening, of course, decides to switch off both his phones. According to Moses Wetangula, acquired a new SIM card. At this point, this man was meant to be named the interim party leader of Ford Kenya. But when they discovered that he's been playing both sides, they decided to pick Wafula Wamunyinyi over him, and of course they couldn't reach him because both his phones were switched off. So Richard Onyonka was struck off the list as interim party leader. He was meant to take over from Moses Wetangula. That is Saturday evening. Let's get to Sunday morning, where the drama began. So the NEC meeting is held at the command center, Radisson Blu Arboretum. Kwanza MP Ferdinand Wanyonyi was kicked out of this particular meeting, and he said things to do with betrayal, and we'll tell you where he went and why it was important that this was shown here tonight. That NEC members from inside, as they say, it was a military precision to ensure that everything happened within a specific time timeline. So the NEC members sanctioned Wetangula's dismissal. They're talking about 47 members, way above the required threshold, those who sanctioned the dismissal or ouster of Moses Wetangula as the party leader for Kenya. So Kandui MP Wafula Wamunyinyi is then picked as interim party leader. He was second on the list after Richard Onyonka, and when they decided that this man cannot perhaps be trusted, they handed over the reins to Wafula Wamunyinyi, picking him as the interim party leader, as a Kandui member of parliament, whom as well Moses Wetangula describes as a man he has helped through his political life cycle. So we'll be giving you more details about the history of these politicians and why this coup playing on the national stage is important to look at even as we head into the 2022 general election. So Sunday morning, that happens at about when Wetangula, of course, is aware that there's a plot to oust him. He assembles a parallel meeting at the Ford Kenya party headquarters. There then, remember I mentioned Kwanza MP being thrown out of the meeting? He went straight to the party headquarters and spilled the beans about what is happening, how the plan was made, who was involved. And then at about midday, we saw the NEC members led by Governor Wangamati address the press to announce the ouster of party leader Moses Wetangula, as well as Chris Mandu, National Organizing Secretary, and their replacements being, one of them being Wafula Wamunyinyi as the party leader. So then Moses Wetangula, seeing that, calls another press briefing, hits back at them, dismisses everything the NSC, supposed NSC has done, suspends both Dr. Eseli Simiyu as a Secretary General, as well as Wafula Wamunyinyi from the party, and maintains that he indeed is the bona fide party leader of Ford Kenya. So that's what has transpired throughout May. We've seen the other faction against Moses Wetangula hold various meetings, perhaps laying ground to this very moment when they ousted Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula from his seat, taking over the party. And now there's all these complaints that perhaps there are very powerful people infiltrating the party, trying to divide the Luhya vote. So what next? What do we expect to see? Perhaps Kenyans are wondering, so who's right? Who's fooling who? Dr. Eseli Simiyu and team say they had about 47 NEC members. Some of them we saw while they were addressing members of the press. They're waiting to confirm the changes with the registrar of political parties, the changes made. Wetangula, on the other hand, is expected to confirm how many NEC members did he have in attendance in his meeting. Did they meet the threshold to then suspend Dr. Eseli Simiyu as well as Wafula Wamunyinyi from the party? An interesting turn of events we've seen. And of course, we'll be giving you more details about this as it continues to unfold. I want us to quickly take a short break here on